the Interstellar Convergence, perhaps the most bizarre phenomenon to ever be encountered within EVE Online. It opens up a galaxy of strange possibilities. This then, as some of you may have heard, is a crossover event between the universe of Doctor Who and that of EVE Online. My thanks to developers CCP for sponsoring this video, in which we're going to take a look at this crossover event. And do check out the links in the video description to find out more information or to join in with the event. So the event is all about closed-off special sites in which the space-time is entangled. Present within this area are the Daleks, as well as some other exploration sites. Now, to get into these sites, you need special warp matrix filaments. These can be constructed from materials located through probe scanning. And here you'll need to find special convergence sites and collect and assemble the various materials. Of course, the other option, as with many things in EVE Online, is the ability to purchase these directly from the marketplace. Now, these areas come in two distinct flavours. The first is the exploration type, which I'm heading to right now. The other is the combat site. Within the exploration site, you can find all manner of goodies. Within the combat site, you'll actually get into conflict and combat with the Daleks themselves. So there's various levels here of each type of site. This is a level 1 site, and I'm going to use level 1 sites purely because I want to show people that you can jump into EVE Online and get to these level 1 sites very quickly, even if you're a new player. So let's read what the warp matrix filament is all about. This warp matrix filament appears to be connected to a very curious pocket of space-time that would likely require exploration and analysis with a Relic Analyzer module. A single Capsuleer flying an exploration frigate or covert op ship will be able to use this filament. Air analysis suggests that no hostile vessels will be found on the other side of this particular filament. Right, so that gives us enough of an idea what to expect out there. Very similar information here. Ship restrictions, of course, you can't use any Tech 2 ships here or any larger ships, but we're going to activate the warp matrix and head on into the site. And yes, some very strong Doctor Who vibes there with the spinning ship. We just need the Doctor Who theme tune to go with it. That'll be pretty fantastic. So here we are then in the first site. Remember, this is an exploration site, and oh, this actually looks really nice, doesn't it? Look at the planets there. Right, so there should be some ruins or some other type of artifacts here for us to track down, but first I just want to have a bit of a look at this wonderful environment. Some slight delay in the loading there for the background cloud, but that nebula looks really gorgeous, doesn't it? Look at that. Stunning stuff. A lovely, wonderful area to go and explore within. So as you look around, you'll find all manner of different peculiar relics here and peculiar ruins. We need to head on over to these and then use the Relic Analyzer to try and decode it and break the safe effectively. Try and get access to the contents therein. Now, if you found this, the content will explode and you'll lose it. So the idea is not to let that happen. Now, the trick here is to find a pathway across this element. Every so often, you'll come across little white orbs or simply elements like that. These are blocks that will prevent us from making progress. They could be viruses or defense walls or other such things. The numbers indicate to us how many steps we get to a container of some type, and you can see there's a little white container there. They can contain beneficial items or they can contain viruses. This is a beneficial item there, very handy. And what we're looking for is the core. Maybe it's hidden behind one of these viruses. The virus will block off nodes that are right near it. So we're going to use this spanner there, which will allow us to gain a bit of health. And there we can see the core. Great stuff, we're in. Next thing, we'll open up the ruin and see what it contains. Ah, nice, a precarious warp matrix blueprint allowing us to assemble another such unit, and that will come with various other pieces. Of course, you can assemble these back at any station, but you will need the respective components to go along with it, and we can get some of these from within this site. Other components we might need to track down from elsewhere. So as you can see, there's a bunch of different ruins there. Eventually I did track down and open all of them, at which point we are ready to leave this particular site. Remember, you get just 30 minutes within that site and it will close down. If it closes down with you inside of it, it will destroy both your ship as well as your capsule as well, and you don't really want that to happen. So yeah, pro tip, try and exit the area before the time limit expires. So here you can see some of the content that we actually found within the site. Some of it very valuable, but the main point is that it allows you to pick up and construct further warp matrix filaments. Now, there are other rewards that you can find within these. These can be Doctor Who related items such as skins and other such content. You can see a bit of a list on the screen right here. Next up, we're going to use a combat filament. This warp matrix filament appears to be connected to a rather precarious pocket of space-time that will likely require some caution and adequate defensive and offensive combat systems. Air advises that the encounters on the other side will likely be much easier to overcome if you bring an ally. Well, I haven't got an ally, but it's only a level 1 system, level 1 site, so it shouldn't be too difficult, at least I hope not. We'll also take a very brief look at a level 2 one further into the video. So here we are, we've arrived at the combat site. Straight away we can see a critically damaged larger ship there, as well as the biomechanoid combat units. The biomechanoid units, of course, are the Daleks, which we can see right here. A very unusual thing within the EVE Online universe to see floating in within space, isn't it? Now, I don't know quite how much damage these guys can do, probably not too much in a level 1 area, but we're going to take these out first and then focus on the Dalek saucer next. So the Daleks are a pretty interesting fictional enemy, aren't they? I've got some fond memories of them going right back to my childhood. Of course, they're far older than me. They first appeared way back in 1963, which is, 13 years before I was born. They appeared in the 5th ever episode of Doctor Who. The episode was called The Dead Planet. Now here we can see a Dalek saucer. This version is based on the modern series that began in 2005 rather than the original series. The original saucer, I think, appeared in 64 or 65, so around about the same time as the Daleks. At any rate, the saucer is obviously the bigger target, but it's remaining passive at the moment. It's not trying to attack me. I doubt whether it's going to be able to do much damage. In fact, we can see that the Daleks themselves haven't even touched me. They're barely a bother here, barely an inconvenience. And we've destroyed them already, no problem at all. Next up, we're going to take on the critically damaged biomechanoid saucer. Now, it's important to realise that whilst this may seem relatively easy content, I do have a reasonably powered ship here. Nothing too significant, but decent enough. But it also highlights that this content is very much ready and available for new players. So if you've never played EVE Online yet and you want this to be your introduction to the game, then you'll be able to get to here in a pretty quick time. I'm going to link a few video guides in the description below that will help you out with some of the content and get in here. Some of this specific content as well as what you'll need equipment-wise to actually participate in it. So there we go, made pretty short work of the saucer, and it's got quite a lot of items here, especially time crystal oscillators there, 277. We're going to loot all of that, perhaps take it back to a station, and at some point I'll think about constructing some of these warp matrix filaments. Now, something you may also have noticed is the convergent accelerant nexus. There's also some decelerant nexuses as well. Now, when you head on over to these, what these essentially do, they will explode, they'll disappear. You'll see that happen anytime now. There it goes. And these will buff your ship. For very briefly, you get around about 60 seconds worth of buff. And you can see this one, the strange phenomena, increases our ship velocity by 200%, increases the shield capacitor, but it also has a few potential negative effects as well. So these are well worth using when you're in combat. Now here, I'm in a level 2 combat site using the same ship, and you can see it is far more difficult. The saucer itself was already heavily damaged, fortunately, because it would take forever to actually kill it with my current weapons if it was at full health. But every so often, what you'll notice is that Daleks themselves will spawn in, and these will swarm my ship and, deal some quite significant damage. That's what happened here. It's how I lost my shield, a big chunk of my armour, as well as a little bit of my hull as well. But, we're repairing it, we're managing. The ship build is pretty robust enough to deal with some of the combat here at any rate. So what this really highlights is that there's a suitable site regardless of your time spent in EVE Online and regardless of your equipment and skill level. In short, each level of site is far more difficult than the one before it. So there we have it, a bit of an overview of the Doctor Who crossover with EVE Online. Some interesting things afoot. That then brings us to an end of this video. Do check out the links in the video description. As always, thanks for watching, and I'll catch you guys and girls next time.